So the question is, what was my biggest takeaway of history of China? Well, interestingly enough, it was actually right at the beginning of history of China that I actually figured out what was most interesting to me, at least. When you said one planet, two worlds, the whole idea of geography is destiny, that China was basically isolated from all these other countries and therefore developed differently. However, it's interesting what it actually developed into once it actually came in contact with the West. So we started from the beginning. China's born, completely other side of the world, completely remote area, no contact with any other really advanced or, shall we say, smart people, if you will. And then you have Europe, all the way to the other side of the world, nations completely put next to each other, so it's Britain, France, Rome, all these nations right next to each other in just one single area. So, in all these areas, just like you said before, therefore led them to actually develop differently. What's interesting about this is that all these nations being put together actually affected how they turned out, whereas China, being isolated, affected how it turned out. It's the whole idea of nature versus nurture, whereas in this case, it's more nature that actually governs how a nation or a people actually express themselves. So, having all these nations put together, developing in their own different ways, of course you're going to have conflicting views. Not all these nations actually agree with each other, whether it be for political values, religious values, or someone took my gold and we're going to go to war because of it. Therefore, all these states had to constantly worry about their armies, their military, how they could actually defend themselves without running into trouble with other nations. Now, China, on the other hand, had, in a sense, kind of a free card. Oh, there's no threat out here. We're the only people that actually belong here. We're the only people that really live in this area. Therefore, we can do what we want and develop how we need to. China held itself together through the ideas of family, art, and they're all allowed to develop because they didn't actually have to worry about any nations coming in, taking their stuff, any nations going in, and actually harming them, in a sense. So, all these